Hello and welcome to another video at the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you so much for joining. And this time we're going to be talking a little bit about college basketball. Now I know I haven't covered much yet in terms of college basketball simply due to the fact that, hey, free agency has kept me busy. I'm sure that with all the news going on, you guys have seen the inflood of videos coming out. But hey, I found some time to be able to sneak in a little college hoops. So yeah, we're going to be discussing the key matchups that's going to be happening today, which is March 21st. And man, do we have some great games. And so what I'll do is I'll talk through each matchup one by one and give you guys sort of my intake as for how I think the games are going to go. It'll be a fun experience. I mean, obviously with college basketball, anything can happen, but that's what you love about it. So many great teams, so many different conferences, so many different playing styles, tempos, coaches, storylines, you name it. Guys trying to make a name for themselves, become legends. This is what they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. And so this is a great time for them. And what I'm going to do is give you guys an insight on how I think it's going to go down. So do watch this video, and I hope you enjoy it because I'm having fun making this video. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about each matchup. Yeah, so let us start with Loyola versus Illinois, this in-state matchup, this huge matchup. This is a very good matchup. I really like what both teams bring to the table in this matchup, and I think it's going to be a very good game. Anytime you have two teams that obviously have a lot of pride and they have a lot of talent here, you're going to get a great matchup. And yeah, I'm really excited to see this one. This may be one of my favorite matchups of the day, honestly. But yeah, I'll start with Loyola, and you cannot talk about Loyola and not mention the run that they had in the tournament the last time they were there, and they really was messing up brackets. Like they just completely shattered my bracket the last time that these guys were in. And not to mention, Sister Jean, she's definitely been an iconic figure whenever we see these guys in the tournament, and so just, she was their good luck charm last time, and we'll see how that helps them out this time around. But they're definitely a very great team. When I think of this team, I think I'm going to start with the center, Cameron Quirtwig. And so with him, what you're getting at this 6'9", you're getting a big man that can play in the post and he can pass. He's going to be in rare company. Well, he is in rare company of joining guys like Oscar Robertson, Larry Bird, and Hershey Hawkins as the only MVC players to record 1,500 points, 800 rebounds, and 300 assists in their career. He's a third-team All-American and the MVC Player of the Year. He averages 15 points a game, 6.7 rebounds, and 3 assists while shooting nearly 58%. Speaking of shooting, yeah, their guards and forwards, they could really shoot from the outside as well. Essentially, nearly all of their guys can just about shoot about that 45 to 52% range from the 3-point line, and so they've definitely got range when it comes to shooting. But I'm also going to talk about one more player that that really stands out to me, and that's Lucas Williamson. Lucas Williamson, what he does is he spearheads that defense that they have that goes out there and plays with a lot of heart. He's a Chicago native, which explains the toughness. He ranks second on the team in scoring with 8.2 points per game. But, yeah, he was the MVC Defensive Player of the Year. So, yeah, that speaks volumes to the type of defense that he brings out there. And so these guys are going to be hungry, extremely hungry for this game right here. And so when it comes to the Fighting Illini, man, they have a lot of talent. I mean, a lot of talent this year. Like Chicago really brought it this year when it comes to bringing teams prepared for this season. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the USA Today National Player of the Year, and that is guard Ayo Denomu. I hope I didn't mispronounce his name too badly there, but he's a 6'5" junior, averaging 20.6 points a game, 6.5 rebounds a game, and 5.4 assists per game. With numbers like that, it's no wonder that he got the USA Today National Player of the Year. His number is number 11. And so, yeah, definitely an impact player. And then we're also going to talk about the Big Ten All Defensive Player of the Year, Trent Frazier, guard number 1. So yeah, he's 6'2", 175 pounds, senior, averaging 10.4 points a game. So definitely look for him on that defensive side to go ahead and try to lock down some of the guards that Loyola has. Sorry about that they have on that team. But yeah, you want to talk about centers? Yeah, they've got one too. Coffee Cockburn, yeah. This guy is 7 feet, 285 pounds, and just a sophomore, averaging 17.6 points a game, 9.5 rebounds, and he was a second team All-American. So yeah, this guy can flat out play some ball out there. So yeah, definitely, I really like what both teams bring to the table. Honestly, Loyola's the type of team that I feel would go very far in the tournament. Like they're the type of team that can make it to the Elite Eight, in my opinion. However, there's always a scenario where that one team, would get far, but they run into perhaps the one team that they would not want to run into. I mean, other than Gonzaga, I think Illinois is another team that they just, unfortunately, I think they just ran into them at the wrong time right now. I think it's going to be a great game. Obviously, either team can win, but I'm leaning towards the Fighting Illini to come through with this game. I mean, they've got talent. Like I just mentioned a few, but they really do have talent. So that's my projection there, is that I've got the Fighting Illini winning this game. I'm not even going to throw a score out there because so many things can happen, but just know the Fighting Illini, I've got them winning this game. And so the next matchup we are going to discuss is the Wisconsin versus Baylor game. And so this one right here, you have Wisconsin. They have to be feeling really good after that big win against North Carolina in the fashion that they won, whereas Baylor as well must be feeling great as well because, hey, I mean, they did what they've pretty much done for the most part of the season minus the tail end of their conference tournament. But yeah, so Baylor's been playing great basketball throughout the entity of the entire season for the most part. A few hiccups, but not very many. Whereas Wisconsin, they fell apart for the most part, especially the last 10 games where they were like 3 for 10. And so, yeah, they entered into the tournament cold, but that last win definitely makes you feel good. And, hey, if Wisconsin can come out and go 13 of 27 from the three-point line again, then they'll be in a great shape if they can reproduce that type of shooting, as they definitely got hot last game. And that does help, obviously in the tournament, if things like getting hot, happens at the right time, then, hey, that's going to elevate your game. Aside from that, I honestly feel that a big key for the Badgers is going to be limiting their turnovers, as Baylor is third in the nation when it comes to forcing these turnovers. And so they're doing so on nearly 25% of their opponent's possessions, so 1 out of every 4. So in Wisconsin, they just seen 7 turnovers this past on Friday. So, yeah, this is going to be very big that they're going to have to protect the basketball if they plan on winning. So protect the ball and hit your threes. They're going to have to shoot from outside because Baylor's a very, very talented team. And for Baylor, it's pretty simple. Coming off that win that they had against Hartford, obviously we all know how they did towards the end of the Big 12 tournament. Yeah, they beat Kansas State, but Kansas State, wasn't that great of a team, and it was by single digits. And then, yeah, when they played Oklahoma State, gave up a ton of points. But, Baylor has been really good, and they're starting to heat back up, it seems like, and at the right time, honestly. So I expect with all of this going on, if Baylor can go ahead and just go out there and make sure that they keep Wisconsin from getting comfortable in the offense, I really feel that Baylor's going to win this game. That's where I'm leaning towards Baylor to win this game, and I'm thinking that I'm not going to throw a score out there, but about 8 points sounds about right for a Baylor victory in this matchup. Would not be surprised if Wisconsin did upset them because, Wisconsin historically has been a team that does, upset teams. But this season alone, going off of this season, when Wisconsin is coming into the matchup as the underdog, I believe they're like 2-5 as the underdog. And so, yeah, definitely. It should be a good game, though. Should be a good game. Both teams, obviously, they're both feeling good right now. They're both hungry, and anything can happen in the tournament. But that's what I predict is going to happen. I've got Baylor winning this game. And next up, we have the Syracuse and West Virginia matchup. Now, this is a matchup that, hey, these teams are very familiar with each other over the years. One of my favorite college hoops matchups to watch, Syracuse and West Virginia. I mean, I could remember watching these guys play, back when Syracuse had Johnny Flynn, going to like 2, 3 overtimes, and just thinking, wow, this is what college basketball is really all about. And so I expect that same type of energy, and I expect for, like just throw where they're seated at out the window when these two teams play, because you're going to get a great one with Syracuse and West Virginia. Syracuse is coming off of their big dominant win, 78-62 over San Diego State in the first round. And so Buddy Boeheim, the son of Jim Boeheim, he went out there and he really played his heart out, at 30 points. And so they were able to excel on both the offense and the defensive side of the ball. So it just came together against, in my opinion, a good San Diego State team, very good team in the Aztecs. Whereas when you have, West Virginia, the Mountaineers here, they came off a big win as well. The score was 84-67 over Morehead State. And so, yeah, they brought it as well. And so they have tremendous players. But the players that you definitely want to watch for West Virginia is Miles McBride, who's averaging 16 points a game with 4.8 assists per game, as well as Derek Culver, who's averaging 14.5 points a game with 9.7 rebounds per game. So those are the guys that are leading the charge for West Virginia, whereas in Syracuse, obviously Buddy Boeheim, he had his 30-point game performance I mentioned earlier, averaging 17.7 points a game in the regular season. And also you had Allen Griffin as well, averaging 14.1 points per game and 6.3 rebounds per game. So yeah, these two teams definitely is going to be one heck of a matchup. But I've got Syracuse pulling the upset here. I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the Oranges. It can go either way, but hey, Syracuse, if they can come out like they did last time, and I believe they will, I think Syracuse is going to win this game. So next we have the Texas Tech and Arkansas game, the 6 versus the 3. And this one may very well at the end of the day turn out to be the best matchup of the day. It really has that type of potential. These two teams, they've played each other in the tournament. In the past, it seems like 58% of the time, the team that's the higher seed comes out victorious. But hey, those numbers are not high enough to make you feel confident either way, depending on which team you selected in your bracket, assuming that you picked either of these teams to advance, beyond this round. But I will say for this matchup right here, the Arkansas Razorbacks, they're going to be trying to rely on their offensive threats to lead them throughout this game to hopefully making the Sweet 16 appearance. But their defense is going to be the biggest factor that they're going to have to play great defense if they plan on winning this game, but they're going to rely on their offense. Let's see, the Red Raiders, they've allowed just over 63 points a game this season, and so yeah, that is significantly lower than what the Razorbacks defense has been giving up by about 7 points a game. But that being said, both of these teams throughout the regular season, I should add, Arkansas, I believe, was ranked 10th to end the year, while Texas Tech was ranked, was it 21st? Let me check my notes. Yeah, 21st. They was ranked 21st. So, yeah, but the keys for Texas Tech to win this game, it's going to start with Mac McClung. He came in huge last time, but they're going to need him, and they're going to need Marcus Santos Silva. The guard-forward combo, they're averaging 24 points and 9 rebounds per game per season. They led the Red Raiders on both ends of the floor. So they're going to be heavily relied upon in this matchup here. And for the Arkansas Razorbacks, the key for the Razorbacks are going to be JD Note and Moses Moody. So the duo in the backcourt, they've averaged 30 points per game this season combined. And so, Moody's a true freshman. Led the Razorbacks with 17.2 points a game, shooting on 44%. So, like I said, Arkansas is going to rely on their offense heavily in this one. That's what they've been doing pretty much all season. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, in terms of who I have winning this matchup, I really like both teams just about evenly for this matchup. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go ahead and say that Texas Tech is going to win this game. Yeah, I've got Texas Tech winning this matchup. Like I honestly feel this one is one of those matchups where it's like 51% for Texas Tech, 49 for Arkansas. But yeah, I'm a lean towards Texas Tech for this one. I just feel that the difference is going to be the defensive play. Yeah, so Rutgers versus Houston. This one, both teams are coming into this one with a very effective defense efficiently. The difference is Houston has a great offense, whereas Rutgers, they're a little low on the efficiency rating. But, nevertheless, both of these teams are very good. I think that when it comes to this matchup right here, a lot that you're going to have to look forward to, aside from obviously just the defensive aspect, is going to be the key players that Houston brings to the table. Led by junior Quentin Grims, who's averaging 17.9 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's shooting 40% from the field. Him and sophomore Marcus Sazer, who's averaging 13.6 points a game. These guys are key players, on the offensive end that, make that they're the ones that get the train running, essentially. Whereas for Rutgers, you're led by 6'6" junior Ron Harper Jr., who's averaging 15.2 points a game, 5.9 rebounds, and he's shooting 45% from the field. And senior Jacob Young, who's averaging 14.3 points a game, averaging 3.4 assists. And so these are the top two contributors offensively for both of these teams. And, it's going to be up to these guys really to get the tone started for both of these squads to try to advance. A little bit more about Houston. Houston has won 8 straight games and has been pretty dominant in the AAC. But they haven't really been tested in terms of a strength of schedule for the non-conference, really. So this will be a nice test for them in terms of playing someone tough outside of their conference. So I guess we can point to that if we're trying to nitpick about weaknesses. But yeah, defensively, Houston, yeah, they lead the nation in field goal percentage defense. And so they're only allowing, this is really big, they're only allowing 57.8 points per game on average. And so that ranks top 10 nationally. So yeah, and they're fifth in their block rate, 15th in their steal rate. So yeah, Houston can flat out play defense. But if you're looking for one weakness that they have, is that they average 18.7 fouls per game. So for Houston, their key is they cannot go around fouling Rutgers crazy, because you never want to keep a team in the game by just fouling them and giving them free points, especially if Rutgers is able to capitalize, at the free throw line on those opportunities. The Cougars are just 5-3 in games that are decided by 10 points or less. As I mentioned, their strength of schedule is 103rd nationally. So yeah, Houston will be trying to definitely make sure that they play to their full potential, and that they don't play down. I shouldn't say playing down, but that they make sure that they continue to hold the level that they've held defensively against some competition that may be considered weaker. So yeah, definitely that'll be something to watch there. And Houston likes to play with a slow tempo. They're actually ranked 321st nationally, and a large part is due to their lockdown defensive style, utilizing all the effort on defense. And so yeah, they play a slower pace on offense. All that said about them, now when we're talking about Rutgers, they're averaging 69.6 points per game, and they're allowing 67.8 points a contest. So overall, they're shooting 44% from the floor and 30.8% from the three-point range. They're going to want to shoot a little higher than that against a team that can pretty much lock you down defensively. And they're shooting 63% from the foul line. So this is really big here, because as a team, if they're shooting 63% from the foul line, they're leaving some free throws on the table. They at least want to be in that mid-70s, preferably higher than that. So Yeah, so if Houston does foul them, but they're not able to capitalize on that, then Houston, they definitely would win this game in that type of scenario, especially given how sound their defense is. But they're also ranked 14th in their block rate, 29th in their steal rate, and so 54th in effective field goal percentage defense. So, they're bringing defense to the table as well. And so, yeah, both of these, Rutgers, they have an outstanding guards and stuff. But when it comes down to who I think is going to win this matchup, I've got Houston winning this matchup. Oral Roberts versus Florida. So here we have, Oral Roberts, who just sent Ohio State back home in a shocking update. They busted so many brackets when they did that, especially my own. Being a Buckeye, it was tough to watch them, take out my team. But yeah, I'll give them credit for that. And they're going against the University of Florida. So this should be an interesting matchup, I'll say. The key for Oral Roberts will be it starts with Kevin Obenar and Max Abmas. Those two were huge. The Golden Eagles, they got 30 points last week from Kevin and 29 from Max. And so, yeah, and Max Abmas, he's the nation's leading scorer this season, averaging 24.2 points per game. And so, and he also had and Albanar, he had a team high 11 rebounds this past performance against Ohio State. So, yeah, they definitely can go out there and score. They got playmakers. They only turned the ball over 6 times, and so yeah, that and the Buckeyes, inability to hit free throws, all of that added up to the upset there. That being said, the keys for the University of Florida, who's coming off of a win against Virginia Tech, it's going to be one. We don't even know really for sure if they're going to be without Omar Payne, who was ejected from the SEC tournament after a flagrant two foul on Tennessee's John Faulkner, as well as Appleby, who took an elbow to the face in the midway in the second half against Virginia Tech. And so, if both of those guys aren't able to go, then yeah, they're going to need for other guys to step up, such as Colin Castleton, who had 19 points last game, 14 rebounds against the Hokies. But they're definitely going to need some guys to step up in this one. And so, for me, Florida, I've seen some games where Florida's looked like, okay, like Florida, they've got it. And then I've seen some other games where it's like, okay, maybe, something's missing. And with all the injuries, this leads me to believe that I think that it's going to be a close game, but I think that Oral Roberts will be able to advance in this one. Could be partially due to the injuries and stuff, but there's a lot of things going on that Florida's going to have to, account for in this game. But yeah, if Oral Roberts can bring that same energy, that same fire, that same intensity, because sometimes when you get caught in the heat in the moment in a big matchup, you just rise to the occasion. And that's what they did last week against Ohio State. And we'll see if they can do it again this week against Florida. But yeah, I'll go ahead and say that they'll pull this upset as well. North Texas Villanova with a spot for the Sweet 16 on the line here. North Texas, they've got to be feeling themselves right now. They went out there and they beat a pretty good Purdue team. And so, yeah, they're definitely going to be coming into this game very confident, looking to, create turnovers and just, take advantage of these opportunities, in which they definitely are very capable of doing just that. And when it comes to, guys like Jeremiah Robinson, Earl, he rose to the occasion last week, and they're going to need last game, they're going to need for him to be, there again and be consistent for them to rely on, throughout this tournament to see how far that they're going to go. And in terms of Villanova, it's very simple. They're going to want to protect the ball. They're going to want to, try to do better on the boards. They're going to want to be consistent, because consistency has been their issue, or at least the issue that I've had with Villanova, throughout the span of the last 10 games leading up to the start of the tournament, where they finished 5-5 in their last 10 games. So they're going to want to show that they can, repeat last game's performance and be consistent. That being said, I feel that it's always those 5-13 matchups that really, where you see the underdog tend to, win in these 5-13 matchups. And so with that in mind, and plus how, Villanova's been inconsistent, I'm going to say that North Texas is going to rise to the moment, rise to the occasion. They're not just happy just to be there. They want to actually go ahead and win and get to the Sweet 16. And I think it's going to be a good one, but I've got North Texas with the upset. So in our final matchup here, we have Oregon State and Oklahoma State. And man, talk about firepower. These guys know how to, they've got some guys that can really go out there and ball. I mean, look no further than when it comes to Oklahoma State, Cade Cunningham, who's averaging 20 points a game, 6.3 rebounds per game. Rebounds per game. He's considered to be, perhaps one of the top prospects in the draft. I shouldn't even say perhaps. He is one of the top prospects, for the draft. And so, yeah, he is doing fantastic. And then you add Avery Anderson, who's averaging 12 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game. But you know what? Oregon State, they have guys that can make plays too. They have Ethan Thompson, who's averaging 15.3 points per game. Gerard Lucas was averaging 13 points a game. So, yeah, these two teams, they were built for these tournament matchups. So this is one that's really going to be exciting for the folks at home to watch this matchup here. Now, to dive a little deeper in terms of how they actually match up against each other, obviously, I feel that when you're talking about these two teams, particularly in this matchup here, you're going to want to concern yourself with, okay, we know these guys can score, but just, what about the defensive aspect of the ball? So it's going to be very important for, both of these teams to come out and establish themselves, defensively in this matchup, I feel. Let's see that I know that when it comes to offense, the Cowboys, Oklahoma State Cowboys, they're averaging 73.5 possessions per game and have scored at least 70 points in their previous 9 games coming into the NCAA tournament. And so the Beavers, however, they typically average about 66 possessions per game. And Oregon State, they're the type that they like to be patient and they like to play the pass. And so, therefore, there's nothing like having a team like when you're talking about Oregon State, that they go out there and not only do they have guys that can score the basketball, but they play as a team. They love to play together. They pass the ball, spread the ball, no real egos there. So that definitely bodes well. In Oregon State, they're going to need to impose their will on the glass in this one as well. Be able to crash the board, set the tone against Oklahoma State. And so the Cowboys, they've averaged 38.6 rebounds a game. That ranks 3rd in the Big 12 in total boards per contest. So, yeah, they're definitely good at that. And so, yeah, I definitely say this is an opportunity for Cade Cunningham to go out there, shine, and confirm that, hey, he is that guy, which we already know that he is, but to show it in the tournament, it just speaks volumes to go out there and be able to ball out during these what could any moment could be your last game. So I expect for him to fully go out there and to ball. That being said, when it comes to who's going to win this game, I've got Oklahoma State. I mean, I think Cunningham and the crew, there's a lot that Oklahoma State brings. And there you have it. There goes my analysis and my selections. Yeah, they were built for whom I think is going to advance to the next round, the Sweet 16. Man, this is how memories are made. I had a lot of fun making this video here, and I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out my video and continue to support me. I've seen my channel continue to grow over the last couple of months, and so I really appreciate everybody taking the time to support me. Each like, each comment, each subscribe. That means a lot towards me continuing to improve and try to create better content for everyone. So thank you so much again for your support and watching this video. It means the world to me, and I hope that you guys enjoy this round of college hoops, as I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to advance, who's going to rise to the occasion, and I'm hoping that everybody just goes out there and have fun. You only get to have these moments for so long, but yeah. So so that covers it for today's video. As always, make sure that you subscribe, so that way when I continue to drop more videos, you'll be able to see it. And yeah, it's been great. So yeah, that's all I got.